At first glance, the epic champion featured in this video looks like a normal epic revive champion, but there are instances where you have no choice but to build and use this champion, and that's what this video is all about. His name is Old Hermit Jorrg, and this is the champion guide or champion spotlight for him, as I'm going through all the champions in Raid Shadow Legends, whether I use them in my early game stage or whether I need them now in some content, or whether I skipped out an opportunity to use them at all. I'm going back to them and building them out and testing them out and putting this type of video guides especially to benefit newer players who are looking for champion guides like this. Orcs Faction is where this epic champion belongs to, and in the early game, this one I did not have a chance to use him. I had Gorgorab, I had Rector Drath, I had a lot of other options to help my champions through the wave content, because you know somebody will always go down in that early game, right? But you have champions like this to bring your allies back to life when they go down, and that's the major thing he's known for. If you bring Old Hermit Jorrg into battle for any other reason than that A3 right there, I don't know what to tell you. Revive capabilities is the only reason why you need this champion in battle, at least in my own experience. And right here, that's the skill I'll just go head to. Revives 2 random allies with 50% HP, then fills their turn meter by 40%. It's common to fill their turn meter by 50%. It's common to, give them some form of turn meter fill. It's also common to give them a little bit of HP. He comes with 60% HP when they come back to life. But the perfect veil, that's the important part. Now, bringing 2 champions back to life and then putting a perfect veil on them, it means they are hidden from any damage that is coming in, that is single targeted damage, right? So that's what Old Hermit Jorrg does for you. And this skill is on a 5-turn cooldown, just like you see any other revive on any other epic champion. The difference is most epic revivers who have this type of skill will have it on a 5-turn cooldown, but it will revive everybody. Case in point, Gorgorab. I don't mean to compare him, but take note that the real reason why most players do not build Old Hermit Jorrg as their first reviver, if they had 2-3 revivers to choose between, they rather choose a reviver who does a single target revive on a lower cooldown, like 3-turn cooldown, than a reviver who revives only 2 champions on a 5-turn cooldown, right? When you spend books on it, it will be a 5-turn cooldown. So that's why most players do not use this champion. But like I said, there are content where you have no choice, like the Orcs Faction Wars, especially now that we're seeing content like hard mode faction coming in right there. You don't know how many revivers you might need in battle, and he might just be one of them, right? Joins your allies in battle. All right, let me talk about the A1 and the A2, because this champion has no passive. This champion has no aura. So that's kind of straightforward, right? So his build will be easy also. I just have to break it down that the only reason why you need this champion in battle and in content will be for this revive skill, bringing 2 of your allies back to life when they go down, or if they go down. Now in battle, when I test out this champion, I will have to see whether he uses this skill whenever when no ally is dead. I doubt it, because there's a perfect veil right here, and most of the time champions like this will bring 2 or 1 person back to life, will not use that skill except somebody is actually dead, which should be a good plus. Unlike Gorgorab, who will use his revive skill to cleanse or to heal, when nobody is dead, and then the revive is just gone. You have to wait for a long time to use it again. Alright, on the A1, like I said, this champion has an HP burn, which is the 40% chance to place that HP burn. It's a low chance, but it's not the reason to build accuracy with this champion. No. You don't want to rely on Old Hermit Jorrg as your main source of HP burn at all, because that's a very low chance of placing it. Even with the help of Masteries that can boost it up to a 45% chance of placing, this HP burn is still a very low chance, and it's not a reliable way of placing HP burn on enemies in any content. Sure, with a little bit of accuracy, he can just, help your main HP burn champion place it, but you don't want to rely too much on this kit. So yeah, at least for early game players who have no source of HP burn, you can use it for sure. You can place that accuracy banner on him and call it a day, or accuracy chest on him and get these stats. But for players who are solely focused on using this champion as a reviver, you do not need to build accuracy on this champion at all, because of this HP burn skill right here. Especially for the fact that the A2 does not need the accuracy. Only the A1 does. The A3 also does not need it. Only the A1 does. So the A2 does places increased attack buff on all allies and fills the turn meter of all allies by 20%. This is a very, very important for dungeon content, where Old Hermit Jorrg goes into battle and starts the battle with this skill. If you're in super early game and you need some increased attack champion in the arena, he comes in there to be that champion who also fills your allies turn meter, so you can definitely go ahead of your enemies, especially when you're not yet having champions like Deacon Armstrong or Arbiter, right? You obviously have to use champions like this in content to get ahead in that early stages of the arena and get out of bronze, silver, and get to gold 1. So definitely at that early stage, you use what you have to get to what you want. And he comes in as one of those revivers that I had to deal with. I've seen him numerous times whenever we're playing our free-to-play or noob-to-pro series. You always see champions like this in the arena because of his increased attack that helps your kill or your other starter champions nuke harder and also bring somebody back to life when they are dead. So definitely an early game arena champion just because of this A2 and the A3. Forget about the A1 for the arena. But for other content, increased attack is also very useful. I've even seen some players using the champion in the clan boss. Well, obviously, it's going to be content like brutal, not even in nightmare. When you're early like that, you use these champions for anywhere you can to help you revive anywhere you need it, right? So that's all I'm going to say about his skill. There's no need to stress it forward. I just wanted to say that the revive is what he needs the most. That's what you need to focus on. And what do players who do revive require? Speed. That's going to be #1 priority of this champion. When I show you my stats right here or my artifact sets, I'm thinking, how can I build Old Hermit Jorrg? The only thing that kept coming to my mind is speed, a ton of speed. And I didn't go 350 or crazy amount of speed like that, knowing fully well that this guide is dedicated to newer players. So I went with sort of a artifact sets that you will recognize and want to put on your champion, and that is perception and speed set. And this is going to give me a ton of speed and some accuracy that I don't need. Obviously, I don't need, right? Because of his perception set. Yes, perception set does add some accuracy to your champion, so take note of that right here. Accuracy 40 and speed 5% for a two-piece set right there. So I'm getting a little bit of accuracy and speed at the same time. Then of course the speed set is also giving me a 12% speed. This will get my speed on this champion to a good number. 309. I thought I was at 250 initially. Well, with the help of glyphs, 270, I've pushed myself to 309 speed, which is way ahead. Well, I think this is enough speed if I intend to use this champion for the new faction war hard mode. If there's any stage where I'm having difficulties and I need more than one reviver that I don't have a legendary reviver for that content, I don't know. So I just wanted to slap this gear on this champion. I thought I was going to go random sets that don't even match up, but perception was the best way to get the required speed that I needed. Now I could go higher than this, but there's no reason to do that. I just wanted to do a good build on him, not a trash build with 200 speed and showcase that. No, I wanted to show him in his full potential, and that is hitting up to 300 speed. What other stats did I get on this champion besides speed? Accuracy that I don't need, like I said, and then HP and defense is important on revivers. You don't want your reviver being the first to be targeted and die in battle. That's going to be bad. So you want a ton of HP after you meet the speed requirement, whether you're building the champion for Dungeon 20 content where 200 speed is fine, or you're building him in for Hydra or Chimera or crazy amount of endgame content where you need to push above that 200 mark. So wherever you need to build him for, recognize that speed requirement must be met before you decide to go for HP stats and defensive stats. Now for the HP stats, I made sure this champion hits over 50k HP, over 61k HP on this champion, and that is good because he's not going to be going down first. Check out the defense, 4,000 defense. That's not the tankiest champion, but this is not going to get him one shot or anything in PvE content. So you don't want him going down first. You want your reviver tanky a little bit and surviving longer. Resistance is based on where you're going to use him. So if you have resistance, if you have bosses that are going to put a bunch of debuffs on him that will affect his ability to do his job, you might want to stack some resistance on him. Heck, you might even forget about the entire accuracy and put all that accuracy stats into resistance instead, like a resistance chest and all that, right? So yeah, that's something to consider right here, because revivers do need to get their turn, don't need to be feared or crowd control or anything, and resistance is one way to do it. It's a flex choice. The main priority is the speed, HP, and defense. Now, what about crits? What about crit rates and crit damage? You asked. Well, you don't need it on revivers. On support champion in general, you really don't need crit rate or crit damage on support champions. Now, if you have extra stats and you want to throw that into that, you can do that and add him maybe 100% crit, but forget about the crit damage anyway. So that's how I choose to build this champion, focusing on 309 speed, 61k on the HP, 4k on the defense, and of course up to no crit rate, no crit damage to be found. So it's time to test Old Hermit Jorrg in some battle, but first you're asked what about the Masteries. Now, whenever I put out these champion guides for you guys, I always make sure I put the champion to their maximum potential. And this time around, I had to go run Masteries on Old Hermit Jorrg, and I've not put Masteries on him yet. If you head over to Elhate's website right here, you'll find Elhate has a Mastery recommendations for a general PvE build, and I'll do it right now in the video. Where is Old Hermit Jorrg Masteries? I'm seeing con. I checked out con before I built Old Hermit Jorrg, but normally you go towards the crit rate, you go towards the crit damage. You just go down to selecting War Master, standard. Nothing really special, nothing strange about this one. You're just gonna come down here and 200 and War Master. Now, depending on whether you need accuracy or not, but I don't think he needs anything on the support 3. I think it's the defense 3, but I'll have to go check the mastery 3 and confirm real quick to make sure I don't select the wrong one. Be right back. Alright, I found the masteries I'm looking for. It went towards the support 3 right here, so I'm just going to select that one. You can head over to Elhate. There is a mastery for clan boss where obviously counter attack on the A1 will be more valuable, and there's also a mastery for standard PvE where you can just go towards the support 3 that I'm currently using right here. So you have to choose which way you want to go. A clan boss build that prioritizing this deterrence on the counter attack, or a general PvE build that goes towards the support 3. I'm leaning towards this one, especially the fact that you have the ability to get a bunch of accuracy that he doesn't need. This one is kind of important though. Lore of Steel is important, and then the first time he hits, did I choose the wrong one? I think I did. It's supposed to be this one. Decreases the turn meter. So this is the one I was supposed to select instead of this one, but I'll just leave it right there and select this one that increases the duration of the debuffs he places. He does place that HP bond, right? Now, he might appreciate this one that increased duration of the increased attack, but he's always there to place it again. There's no need. Sniper to increase the chances of placing the HP bond, which I talked about when I was talking about that A1. Is kind of important on a champion like this if you value the A1 HP bond anyways. Alright, that's the mastery recommendation. Like I said, elhates.com is where you can find 2 or 3 masteries for this champion, including the blessing recommendation, which I selected the commanding presence. If you don't have any champion, epic champion in your team, or a legendary doing a better blessing, you can put this commanding presence on him, and it strengthens the team's aura. It must not be his aura because obviously he doesn't have an aura, but your team lead or your leader in the slot in the aura will be strengthened up to how many percent? 2%? Well, currently I have 2.5% strengthening of my team's aura, which is nice, Alright, it's time to test Old Hermit Jorrg in battle. I've shown his stats, I've shown his masteries, I've shown his blessing, I've shown his artifact set. I've talked about how you can build him in the early game, speed, perception, any way you can. You notice I'm not even talking about damage set, because obviously a support champion is not supposed to be doing any damage. So do not build this champion in merciless or crazy thing like that, savage. Keep your damage sets for your damage champions. He goes with your fastest artifact set you can, that is left over by your Arbiter or your Yumeko that is not being used. You place it on a champion like this so they can do their job in faction wars or in specific content that requires an epic reviver magic affinity. Right? So that's how I built him. I'm thinking if there's any other information I've not shared with you before I go over to some battles. I've not even put together a team surrounding him, but I'll go into some battles and test him out right now to see maybe just one battle with a team that obviously will go down in battle, and he becomes the one to revive them and do his job of sustaining them through the wave. All right. Since there's all the information I need to share, I was comparing him to Gorgorab. Yes, that's what I wanted to showcase right now. If you have a champion like this already built for general dungeon content, remember they have similar revive, but this one revives any dead allies. We can't forget that the 2 revives are not the same. There's one that revives all allies, there's one that revives only 2 allies, but they're both on 5 turn cooldown. So that's why most players will prefer to build Gorgorab over Old Hermit Jorrg. as your default reviver in every content, right? Gorgorab also has a great speed aura for arena, so that's a plus for him. And if I go to compare Old Hermit Jorrg again with another reviver that is quite common in Raid Shadow Legends, which is Rector, right? Her own revive is kind of special because it's a 4-turn cooldown. Well, you might say, but 4-turn cooldown is not that far from 5-turn cooldown. Well, she revives one, it's 4-turn cooldown, and fills the turn meter of them by 60%, way more than Old Hermit Jorrg does for turn meter filling, and that's kind of amazing and important to take note of. She also brings Perfect Veil to protect them from. It feels like this revive goes on for a long time. I mean, it keeps happening a lot. So that means that she is often built in Relentless or something. That means Old Hermit Jorrg is a champion that probably could also benefit from Relentless if you have enough speed in them to make it happen for him. Alright, enough talk, enough comparisons. Let's go into battles and see what this champion can do for your team. You probably know what revivers do, but again, we always want to end this video with a battle test of the champion we just hyped in terms of their skills, their abilities and all that. So I'll take out my default reviver right here in this battle that I tested yesterday, and let me fight 25, so somebody will die. Definitely somebody will die if I go higher. If you fight 20, they might get nuked faster than I can say Jack. So I'll take out the default reviver and the default healer. But Old Hermit Jorrg does not do any healing though. That's the problem. He doesn't do any healing. So anybody who goes down is gonna stay down. So I better bring in a healer. But if I bring in a healer, we might not get a chance to see what Old Hermit Jorrg does. So I'm just gonna add him. If the battle fails, it fails. But I really want to see him help a little bit in the battle and keep the team alive. I'll bring in one more rare champion just to complete the team. I didn't turn on my vault. One rare champion. Probably I can keep herself alive. No, that cannot keep herself alive. No, this one. That doesn't bring any damage. So I don't want them to die fast. I just want to see Old Hermit Jorrg bring people back to life. That's what this battle test is all about. To see him bring people back to life when they die. And also we have a champion in here to maybe reset his skill cooldown, which is, this champion is definitely going to die because this champion is not built at all for my account. Alright, time to go into battle, featuring the newest legendary champion we all got through the fusion, doing his thing with double hits right here, failing to go before the decreased defense. Old Hermit started with his A1. That was his A1. Come on, we want people to die so we can see this champion do his thing. There we go. End of video. The video has ended. So I was hoping to see Old Hermit Jorrg not use his revive when nobody is dead, and he did not do it. He held on to the revive until somebody went down in the team. That's when he used it. Finally, we see the HP board. So it does have its uses, I guess. Contributing a little bit of damage in the battle with his A1 and his HP bond. That's all he does. And of course, he used the A2 to place increased attack on everybody. Again, so it's because it's 300 speed and this content is obviously very low speed. What, 100 speed in this content? That's why he's running laps around them. It feels like his revive is always available. It's not going to be so if you run him low like 200 speed or one or less than that. You're going to have to wait for that 5-turn cooldown on the revives to be available again, especially if multiple champions go down on your team at the same time. There we go. There we go. This is what I'm talking about. And he brought 2 of them back to life. Now his revive is not available. It's not available. He's just hoping and praying that nobody else dies. When will it be available again? Before somebody else dies? Now it's available, I think. No, he has taken 2 turns. He still needs to take 1 more turn before he can revive. You see, 1 more turn. Now I think he can revive. So it's a long time to wait for somebody to come back to life on your team. And before that person comes back to life, a lot of things can go wrong. Somebody else might die again. So that's something to note. You always want to pair revivers like this who bring no healing, by the way, with another healer. Like you see, Apothecary was taken out of the team because I wanted people to die. But if Apothecary was in here, it would have been much easier for Old Hermit Jorrg to keep the HP of everybody up to par, because it will be done by Apothecary and people won't be on half HP dying all the time. So you always want to pair a reviver who has no source of healing with a healer like Apothecary or better. Alright, that's the damage I mean, that's the battle test for Old Hermit Jorrg. That's his champion spotlight. I don't want to hype him too much. I'm kind of, in this video, I'm kind of underrating him, obviously. As you can see, I'm comparing him to other revivers who commonly used in Raid Shadow Legends, like Rector Drath and Gorgorab, and there are reasons why those champions are preferred over him, and you can see why. Hopefully in this video you can see why. But if you have no choice but to use him in a particular content, you have no choice but to use him, including Corset City, where some content might just require specific champions, specific faction, specific affinities and all that, right? So that's something to note. Old Hermit Jorrg coming in close right here to get this team all the way to the boss after multiple of us dies through the wave. That's what is there on your team for. Now, if you currently use this champion in 2025 in Raid Shadow Legends, I'd love for you to go to the comment section and tell me where you're using, because I built him for the purpose of this champion guide, and that's it. Back to the vault he goes. I didn't build him to use him in any specific content, but I'd love to hear from you. How would you build this champion differently if you had to use him for a content, or where currently do you use him? I'm always looking forward to learning. If there's a champion you want me to take a closer look at like this, even if it's one that I don't intend to use or build or use in any content, I always check out the comments, see what you say, which champion you want me to build and test, and I will put that video out for you guys to see whether it's one that I have experience on or is one that I obviously did not get to use in my early game stages of Raid Shadow Legends. All right, see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm not just saying like and subscribe because 75% of the players who watch these videos are not subscribed, and we're trying to get to 8,000 subscriber mark where we can begin to do giveaways twice a month instead of once. 540 gems and 1 ancient shard giveaways every month end, but if you get to 8k we can do it twice a month. So hit that subscribe button. It's totally free to do so. If you want to catch me on live stream, I'm probably live right now on twitch.tv/Breeze5D or Kick. No, I'm not gonna use Kick these days, but anyways, I'm live on Twitch. If I'm not playing Raid, I might be playing Once Human or other games, but I'll still answer any of your Raid related questions. Give account takeovers. The Discords are open. Check the description for all those links right there. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, guys. I plugged a lot of things at the end of this video. At least this time I remembered. Good night, guys.